I'm the CBS Detroit whistleblower with Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I'm the CNN whistleblower for Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about this Project Veritas story that I have not talked about yet, but I'm going to talk about it due to special request, okay? But also because I think what is going on here is pretty interesting, okay? And I think it is worth discussing and talking about because Project Veritas probably is one of the biggest kind of organizations in the conservative movement, okay? In the fight against the left, exposing the left, okay, for their hypocrisy and some of their more radical ideas and ideology and things they're pushing, okay? Again, this organization has really been a godsend despite what some may call to be, questionable tactics in regards to getting the information that they get on the left. But hey, maybe it is a necessary evil that unfortunately seems to be coming to an end, as James O'Keefe, the founder and CEO of Project Veritas, has been pushed out, okay? He's been pushed out of the organization due to allegations of financial malfeasance in improper use of company funds and donations from the board. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to be transparent about this. I have seen James O'Keefe probably like 3 times individually in my life. Now, I've never met him, but I've seen him in person. And I gotta tell you guys, he really does come off as a larger than life figure, okay? I will never forget seeing him at Turning Point with the silver hair and the bulletproof press vest, and him walking around with like literally everybody following him around. Like, it's almost like it was a rock star, okay? Kind of reminded me a little bit of like Elvis vibes, right? Like, I mean, he truly is a guy with an aura, okay? And I already told you guys, I don't fanboy over anybody, so I don't really like trying to approach people and, you know, trying to fanboy and stuff like that. So I never met him, okay? But I've seen him, like, again, on 3 separate occasions in 2 different locations across the country. And he truly is a larger than life figure, and he is absolutely loved by the people in that organization and the people that follow him. And it truly is sad to see what's happening to Project Veritas, which was a great organization up until this. But again, there's some serious allegations here that the board is making against them that could put their nonprofit status at risk, okay? And I'm just going to summarize here some of the allegations that they're making, which includes him making some purchases that basically, again, could put their nonprofit status at risk, okay? For example, $14,000 on a chartered flight to fix his boat, okay, under the guise of meeting with a donor, $60,000 in losses by putting together dance events such as Project Veritas Experience, $150,000 in black cars, $1,000 spent on DJ and other stuff. So this is what they're accusing him of. Now, do I know if this stuff is true? No, I have no clue if this is true. Okay, but the board claims that they had him, or they tried to get him to come in for a meeting to discuss this, right? These allegations of improper spending and also some other issues that allegedly have happened with the company, such as morale, issues with staffing, and just the general direction of the company, considering, again, the morale in the financial situation. Now, a lot of the drama heated up at the company after James O'Keefe fired the CFO of the company unilaterally, which the board alleges is against the rules, okay? He's not supposed to do that without board approval. And James O'Keefe is going to give his side of the story, right? I'm going to play a video of him giving his side of the story, what happened, and some other things he has to say. And then I'm going to play a video that have come out from the Project Veritas whistleblowers in support of James O'Keefe. And then I'm going to give you guys kind of my whole opinion on the situation and go from there.
Very hurried, very busy, pressed for time every day, trying to pack in so much in a day. I think you all know this in meetings. I'm busy because I'm trying to get so much done in an hour, all the while moving at the speed of light to raise as much money, to hire more people, to take care of you guys in a fundamental way, although I may not be good at communicating the reasons why I am that way. I'm doing as much as I humanly possibly can so I could build this place out and do more. And that's what we did every year, each year since 2010. growing every year, sometimes doubling our revenue, doubling our impact. I have a chart here, which again, I'm going to hand to you, the chart of the growth every year. I have never slowed down. I recognize that perhaps I should, but number one, there's a trade-off to slowing down. And number two, I need the right leaders around me in order to do that. So along the way, there has been much turnover, replacing people with better people. This was painful to me and to many of you who witnessed it. But that has always been happening since day one. That's a few days after the Pfizer story. I was informed by an officer of Project Veritas on the phone while en route to the airport that he would resign unless I stepped down as CEO. We've been having a conflict of visions, him and I, over fundraising. Do we have any fundraising here? I guess no one from fundraising is here. I don't know. There were tactical disagreements about the boldness of approaches soliciting donations. I was told, and I'm paraphrasing, by asking for X dollars right now, you will prevent 10X dollars down the road. That advice ran contrary to everything I knew to be true in my 13 years of fundraising. But that conflict was even more fundamental and essentially boiled down to this. And my vision, I'm going to paraphrase Howard Rourke, the architect, quote, I don't build in order to have donors. I have donors in order to build. That's what I believed, and I felt like we had a conflict of visions. We measure our success in terms of what we produce, not just in terms of our wallets. That was a pretty fundamental conflict, I felt. The day prior, I had informed him in front of his colleagues that if he wasn't willing to follow my lead, he'd be shown the door. I tried to deal with it privately, but I was unsuccessful, and the disagreement boiled over publicly in a staff meeting. The next day, this individual refused to resign, so I fired him. Later that same day, that's Thursday, February 2nd, a few days after the 50 million viewed Pfizer videos, I was informed by a different officer of Project Veritas that he would go to the board in a few hours from that moment and have an emergency vote to restructure this company. Receiving an agenda in my email while I was sitting on an airplane tarmac with the doors closing, the meeting was scheduled for the moment that my plane landed in Nashville. It became clear to me in that moment I would be removed from my position at Project Veritas by the time I landed at my destination. The doors closed, the plane took off, but somehow, over the next few hours, I was able to convince the board to push this emergency meeting to that Monday, February the 6th. The very next day, and this is where things gets really bizarre, so fasten your seatbelts. The very next day, on Friday, this is now Friday, February 3rd, a board member reached out to one of our journalists and stated, quote, you get a raise if there is a restructure without James O'Keefe at Project Veritas. I have a copy of the text message, and I'll give it to all of you. I've redacted the name of the journalist. The board member deleted the message, but not before our journalist took screenshots. Good job, journalist. Yeah. On Sunday, February 5th, now that's Sunday, 2 days after the Friday, a board member requested my presence at his home. He informed me, quote, you had nothing to do, James, with this Pfizer story, unquote. Perplexed by this, I took out my iPad and showed him a video of myself confronting the Pfizer executive, which had 11 million views on YouTube. He responded, quote, but that was after the undercover video had already been done, unquote. I pointed out that the brave journalist, and many of you know who this person is, I'm not going to name anyone, who recorded the interaction was someone that I had to sit down over a year prior, remember, over dinner, for hours, talking off the proverbial ledge, insisting he take the long, arduous road to get the story about Pfizer, and indeed he did. The board member, responding to me saying that, said he did not know that, and admitted that another board member was persuading him to the contrary. In the meeting, we're fast forwarding to Monday, 2 weeks ago, on the 6th, I offered an apology letter to the board for my tone of voice in the office at the leadership meeting the week before, that I intended to also share that apology for my tone of voice with our staff. But the board refused to accept my apology, nor believe that it was sincere. They also did not support my sending it to the staff. I imagine many of you didn't even know that I drafted an apology. Then I was subject to a 6.5-hour listing of grievances, which included taking black cars to meetings. I don't know the significance of the color of the vehicle. And taking a few charter jets over the years to pack multiple PV meetings in a day. One of those jets, I think we had a meeting in New York, Wisconsin, and California in the same day, and it raised $2 million. But the revenue part was omitted. There was also some truly bizarre grievances, including my failure to record audio in one encounter at a bar in upstate New York, and an allegation that I stole a pregnant woman's sandwich in federal court. There were also discussions from a few staffers with donors in the boardroom. Donors were listening to some of this, and some of these were sent directly to donors without my consent. Donors who have no knowledge of my personal life and have no business asking questions about my personal life, about girls I've dated in the past. So, our mission continues on. I'm not done. The mission will perhaps take on a new name, and it may be no longer called Veritas, Project Veritas. I'll need a bunch of people around me, and I'll make sure you know how to find me. So with that, I'm going to collect my things. I'm going to load them into my car, and I hope to see some of you soon.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, before I get into that and what he said and what I think is going on here, let's go ahead and roll a clip of some of the Project Veritas whistleblowers who have come out in support of James O'Keefe. Take a look.
I'm the CBS Detroit whistleblower with Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I'm the CNN whistleblower for Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
HHS vaccine nurse whistleblower with Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I'm the Department of Homeland Security whistleblower from Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I'm the HHS whistleblower exposing government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking. I stand with James O'Keefe.
I am the Hasbro CRT whistleblower for Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
Postal Service whistleblower for Project Veritas, and I stand with James.
I was one of the Project Veritas Facebook insiders, and I stand by James O'Keefe.
I blew the whistle on Facebook, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
And I blew the whistle on Pfizer to Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
United Healthcare whistleblower for Project Veritas, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I blew the whistle on Tegna, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I blew the whistle on ESPN and Disney, and I stand with James O'Keefe.
I was the Project Veritas whistleblower for Google, and I stand by James O'Keefe.
My name is April Moss.
My name is Carrie Porch.
This is Jody O'Malley.
My name is Aaron Stevenson.
My name is Tara Rodas.
My name is David Johnson.
My name is Richard Hopkins.
My name is Ryan Hartwig.
My name's Cassandra Spencer.
My name is Melissa McAtee.
I'm Sean Stagg.
My name is Zach Voorhees.
My name is Brett Mauser.
I am Trevor Adams.
Yeah, so I've actually met a few of those whistleblowers in person at, events with Project Veritas, and they're great people, right? Nothing but good conversations. Some of them even said that they watch my YouTube channel. They recognize me, and it was like, hey, I watch your show, and we chopped it up, and they're great people, right? And I believe them when they say that, hey, they stand with James O'Keefe against the allegations from this board of directors who obviously seem to have a power and money and control issue with James O'Keefe, which, I mean, that's basically, I think that a lot of what happens at these companies, any type of conflict between men is going to come down to money and power, right? That's what's going to come down to, and it seems like that's what's going on here, right? It seems like they don't like, I guess, some of the tactics that James O'Keefe uses, or, what he's doing with the money, or the fact that he fired the CFO unilaterally. I think that's kind of where a lot of this kind of comes from. Maybe there was some internal conflict or internal type of power control going on. And maybe, again, they use that as an excuse to try to get rid of him, and also citing some other allegations that he, misspent funds that, James said that, hey, all that stuff was spent for business purposes, okay, to go and raise donations, right? Which, hey, I believe him, okay? I think that, James O'Keefe here is somebody that, I would stand behind and I would support just based off how I've heard other people talk about him, okay, and what I've seen with my own two eyes. So with that being said, I think it's obvious that, Project Veritas would not be much of anything without James O'Keefe. He is the heart and soul of that organization, evidenced by the fact that they are losing subscribers and followers. For example, this is their Twitter account here. They've lost hundreds of thousands of followers ever since this James O'Keefe situation happened. And on YouTube, they've been hemorrhaging subscribers as well, too. Right? That organization is nothing without James O'Keefe. As you saw, the guy raised $20 million in a year for the organization. $20 million in a year. That's a lot of money for a nonprofit, right? And they've been doing great work, and it's just, again, kind of strange how this comes out after the Pfizer video, which, again, is probably their biggest, expose yet, right? That's probably the biggest thing that they've exposed in the history of Project Veritas, and all of a sudden they're getting rid of the guy who's engineered the organization to be what it is. Again, it's really sad because, Project Veritas in and of itself is a brand, but it is nothing without James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe, him in and of itself, is a brand. So I think that James O'Keefe is going to be fine, right? No matter where he goes, it seems like staff and the people are behind him, and the money's going to follow him. Right? So he can go start another organization. He's going to have to build up the brand name of the organization, but he's a brand in and of itself. Anything that he puts his stamp on of approval, people are going to donate to. People are going to support. Now, Project Veritas in and of themselves, that organization, the board of directors without James O'Keefe, I don't think that they're going to survive, right? I don't think people are going to keep sending money to an organization without the brainchild who made the organization what it is in the first place. Now, a lot of people have commented on this and said, well, this is why you don't have a board of directors in the first place. But with nonprofits, you have to have a board of directors, right? It's not like you have a for-profit company where you have one person just controlling everything. No, when you take a company public or when you have a nonprofit, particularly, again, nonprofits, because of, the fiduciary responsibility and how you're not supposed to distribute profits to shareholders and stuff like that, and the benefits that it gets in regards to taxation, yeah, you got to have a board of directors kind of overlooking everything and how the funds are being used to make sure that staff and members aren't unjustly enriching themselves. Don't get me wrong. You can get rich off a nonprofit, okay? You can get rich from nonprofits, okay? But you just can't compensate yourself too much, okay? Or else the feds start looking, right? So with that being said, I support James O'Keefe. I think that wherever he goes, the money will follow, the staff will follow, and it's going to be just as good, if not better, than what Project Veritas was. It's just a shame because Project Veritas in and of itself is basically a household name. It's a household brand that I wish that James O'Keefe could remain a part of and continue to grow and build, because I think the best days for that organization were ahead of the organization up until, I guess, this happening. So, again, it's a shame, but, this is what happens in business. And I think everybody has to kind of understand, even when we're talking about politics and culture and the movement, a lot of this stuff is just business, right? And in business, breakups like this happen. It is what it is. It's sad to see, but I think ultimately it'll work out at the end of the day. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.